Now, you know, when we start off with a clip like that, this is going to be a good video. This video here, finally, we got some good news. The left-wing extremist libtard, Jasmine Crockett, is under investigation by the FEC. As a matter of fact, I'll let you take a look at that. Then I'm going to get right here into the video clips that I got for you, because this one is going to be a barn burner. FEC opens probe of Rep. Jasmine Crockett's donations. Real quick, briefly, to bring you up to speed. Federal Election Commission opened investigation into firebrand Rep. Jasmine Crockett regarding donations to her 2024 campaign made through Act Blue, a Democrat fundraising powerhouse organization. So the FEC has kicked it off. Now, if you're not familiar with who Act Blue is the same organization that Elizabeth Warren is caught up in the scandal. For the California wildfires, Elizabeth Warren was fundraising all the way from where she is in Massachusetts for California. And people that thought they were doing such a good thing donating to California were pissed off when they found out that for that front page that said California wildfires, when you dig behind the scenes and underneath the surface, you find out that it redirects those monies to Act Blue. Now, who is Act Blue? Act Blue is supposedly a nonprofit money fundraising portal where people can just make their donations. They're just a portal where you can make payments and they funnel it to the candidate. Now, here's where it gets sticky with Act Blue. Act Blue being a national platform for the Democrat Party. If you're a politician in California raising big money, but you're also a politician in Maine on the Democrat side that the constituents don't want, nobody locally is supporting you, they're hoping that you get beat, but the Democrats really want that seat, they'll redirect donations that somebody's making thinking they're supporting one candidate, and they'll shift it over to another one. So you got people whose money is not going where they think it's going to support people that they may not support at all. And that's all allegedly why the FEC is probing these people. Now, Jasmine Crockett has been talking a whole lot of crap. And in this video, we're going to see proof of some of the fraud that's been going on and how this time her mouth might have got her into something that her butt can't get her out of. So let's check out what President Trump had to say about Jasmine Crockett. Then I'm going to get into the rest of the clips for the video. Check this out.
Looking back, and I said before, the Democrats have taken a lot of beatings. They have lost their confidence. They've gone crazy. They've gone crazy. How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about her? Is that real? Are they serious about that? That's their new star? If that's their new star, they're in serious trouble. I mean, this is Crockett. Oh man. But we've done looking back.
So even President Trump acknowledges this woman's insane. And to show you how they're not messing around, before I get into the next video clip, this is directly from the House Committee on Oversight, okay? Our actual government. Fraud on Act Blue. New report details potential illegal activity on the Democrat platform. Let me read what it says right here, really briefly. Today, the House Judiciary Committee, the Committee on House Administration, and the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform released a joint interim staff report titled Fraud on Act Blue, How the Democrats' Top Fundraising Platform Opens the Door for Illegal Election Contributions. This report reveals that Act Blue made its fraud prevention rules more lenient twice in 2024, even though there's extensive fraud on the platform, including from foreign services. Real briefly, I'll read this part. Internal documents show that Act Blue executives and staff were aware that both foreign and domestic fraudulent actors are exploiting the platform, but do not take the threat seriously. In fact, they attempted to hide the changes to avoid sparking discussions about fraud on the platform. For example, Act Blue's training guide for new fraud prevention employees instructed them to look for reasons to accept contributions rather than err on the side of flagging suspicious donations. Internal communications revealed that rather than seeking to reduce or eliminate fraud, Act Blue's chief fraud prevention officer was willing to accept 10% more fraud while focusing on DEI. There's that DEI again, messing something up. Additionally, in a 30-day window, during September and October 24, Act Blue detected 237 separate donations made from foreign IP addresses using domestic prepaid cards, which is insane, which is nuts. And so let's get more into Jasmine Crockett. She's also, so you got the FEC probing into her donations, which I'm going to show you proof of her fraud because she gets called out. She's also branded a hypocrite. She took over $370,000 from PACs, business trips to Hamas supporting Qatar government. Ain't that funny? Now I'm gonna scroll down. This article goes into it, talking about her and how she was all against people taking PAC money, and then how she put out a tweet in 2020, where she was blasting her opponent for taking $192,000, how she took nothing. Well, she decided what's good for the goose is good for the gander, because public records show she accepted more than $370,000 in federal contributions from PACs representing corporations or business associations since 2022. Now, her donors include a mix of PAC and non-PAC donors, including pharmaceutical giants like AbbVie, Gilead Sciences, financial services companies like BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, major defense contractors including Lockheed Martin and RTX, and brands including McDonald's, Home Depot, CVS, Verizon, and Toyota. Now, here's the real kicker. Meanwhile, Crockett's disclosures also show she has received lavish trips while in office. In February of 2023, just a month after being elected to the U.S. House, she traveled to Doha, Qatar at a total cost of $17,500. The trip was paid for by the U.S. Qatar Business Council, which has ties to the pro-Hamas Qatari government. Now, isn't that special? So we got Jasmine Crockett running around having the audacity to call people out and say investigations into Elon and yada, yada. But now she's got herself called onto the carpet. Now, before we get into the video exposing her, because her political opponent actually goes into the backyard, goes to speak to one person whose name is responsible for 53 different donations, totaling like $16,000. But what this person tells you is going to blow your mind. Now, real quick, just to bring you up to speed on the ignorance and how much this woman lies, I want you to listen to what Jasmine Crockett says is the blame for why prices are high, why rents are high, why the prices went up across the country. Could it be Joe Biden and Bidenomics? I believe what she says it is will probably blow your mind. But with it coming from Jasmine Crockett, it may not. Check this out.
Realm. So I am telling you that this is a failed thing, but we've got to do better to connect the dots and let people know the reason you can't afford a home is because of these failed immigration policies. The reason you're not going to be able to afford your food is because of these failed immigration policies. And the same can go for the hospitality industries, where we have so many of those in the hospitality industry that are saying they do not have the workers that they need right now.
If you enjoyed this video, do me a solid, hit that like button, because I'll never ask you for a cash app or a super chat, but you hitting that like button, it really does help the channel. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. And once you do, all you got to do is hit that notification bell and then select all. And that way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. So what this woman does, if you paid attention to anything that she says, she's looking to build a slave class in America. She recently went on a talking about how, black folks is done picking cotton. Isn't everybody done? They have machines to do that. A matter of fact, it's not even about race. And then the fact that she feels that these illegal immigrants or immigrants, period, are only good for serving food and picking cotton and doing type of slave labor for low wages. This is exactly how the Democrats felt about the black community. This is how they felt about the Irish when they first came over. This is how they felt about the Jewish community at one point. One thing the Democrat Party does, they're always looking for a new slave class. And when that class wakes up, like the Irish did, like the Jews did, like the blacks are doing, they need to find a replacement. And now their replacement, to try to solidify that voter base, has been to allow illegal immigrants from all over the globe, regardless of ethnicity. The only thing they all have in common is they're all seeking asylum in America. Many are criminals. Some are families and people just looking for a better life, but they're all getting under one umbrella, which is the victimhood coalition of the Democrat Party, which always has way too many people in the tent that don't have enough connections to each other. And it's always orange man bad and we're all victims. Well, when the group stops feeling like a victim and they realize that the orange man ain't bad, the orange man's actually making good moves, the Democrats look like the liars that they are. Now, check out this, and then I'm going to get into the video of the exposing. This is what leads into what's going on with Jasmine Crockett right now. This is with her FEC investigation. And it says the FEC opened an investigation. There is a process, but they are investigating, Backer told The Signal. The complaints reference a specific suspect donor reported to have given 53 separate donations that are $595 each to Crockett's campaign through the ActBlue portal. The suspect donor was a 73-year-old Texas resident named Randy Best, according to the FEC complaint. However, Best's wife, in a video promoted by one of Crockett's opponents for 2026, Sheldon Daniels, denied knowing anything about the donations. The complaint contends this possibly means Best and potentially other donors through Act Blue did not make the donations listed under their names. Now, here's the video of where the gentleman is at the lady's house. But before I get into that, one more clip I want to show you. And this is Jasmine Crockett from 2019. Now, we've never heard this story. And from what I understand, her claim to fame of how the Democrat Party even decided she'd be a good place filler in the U.S. Congress rather than the state is because you already know she checked multiple boxes of the victimhood coalition. Listen to this doggone story right here. And then I'm going to tell you the backstory of what investigations found out about this. I had never seen this video clip. I'm not sure if you had, but when she gets exposed, it's going to be shocking, but it's not shocking being her. Check this out.
I've never been married. I don't have any kids, and I practice law. So I handle civil rights cases. So when the police are continually out here killing us, I'm usually one that's behind the scenes handling those types of cases. I handle criminal defense cases, and I also handle car accidents. I had a great background as it relates to my ability to deal with numbers, and it was going to pay well. So I was like, I'll be an accountant. Unfortunately, around my junior year, I was the victim of a hate crime or two. And so were a group of my friends, all at the same time. Cars were keyed with the N-word. We received hate mail in our on-campus mailboxes. And at that time, my school hired the Cochran firm. And there was a lawyer who graduated from University of Houston who was assigned to me. And it was the first time in my life that I felt helpless. And I was like, I want to help people that are going through what I've just experienced. And at that point in time, I decided that I was going to sit for the LSAT.
Now, to show you what type of big fat liar this woman is, they investigated this story. And here's what it says. In 2019, a personal injury attorney, Jasmine Crockett, claims that she decided to go into law after being the victim of a hate crime or two. I'm 46, black. I'm from Detroit. I've lived in Florida for over 20 years, almost 25 years. I have never experienced a hate crime. Nobody I know has experienced a hate crime. Have there been people that said things that may have been negative or disrespectful? Yeah, but that's verbal. That's not a hate crime. But, these people lie and they play on that. I call it race hustling because they know black people and people of color get emotional when you bring up race. And she's using that. That's the broom that her witch self is riding in on. Crockett claims that she received hate mail and that her friends' cars were keyed with the N-word. She claims that her college called Johnny Cochran's law firm and that the lawyer assigned to her inspired her to get into law. A newspaper in Tennessee looked into the claims and found zero evidence of any of it. Cochran's firm didn't respond to requests for info, and Crockett's school, Rhodes College, had no record of the incidents, no police reports, no record of hiring lawyers. Crockett herself has said that she can't even remember the lawyer's name who inspired her to make the life-changing decision. In a different version of the story,
I've never been married. I don't have any kids.
In a different version of the story, Crockett claimed that she originally was going to be an anesthesiologist until an advocate helped her get through those terrible hate crimes she experienced in college. Now, the kicker about that crap is this: she's not married and no kids. And this is with all due respect to any man or woman who's not married and don't have kids. When you got somebody that's not married and don't have kids that really don't give a dang about what happens after they're gone, I'm nervous by those people. It's like Lindsey Graham on the Republican side. He's a war hog. I always wanted to send somebody's kids into war because he doesn't have any children to send into war. Now, she talks about how she represented families and did all of this stuff. Did you know that Jasmine Crockett was exposed and a family went insane on her, and this family had made national news? She claimed that she was representing Botham Jean. Now, Botham Jean was a gentleman who the police went into the wrong home and ended up killing this man in his home, wrongful death. And she acted like she was representing the family. Check this out. And then I got the video clip of her being exposed when Sheldon Daniels goes to Randy Best's house to ask about those donations. So hold on with me. Let me cook. Absolutely disgusting. family of Botham Jean demands congressional candidate Jasmine Crockett stop using his name. Now, this is when she was trying to run, race hustling, like I said always. The family of Botham Jean, who was fatally shot by a Dallas police officer in his apartment, sent State Rep Jasmine Crockett a cease and desist letter. And again, it was so sad. This woman, this lady cop, goes into the wrong place that wasn't hers and says she was scared and shot this man and killed him. Here's what it says. The family of Botham Jean, a Dallas man who was fatally shot by a Dallas police officer in his apartment in 2018, issued a fiery open letter to congressional candidate Jasmine Crockett, demanding that she stop representing herself as their attorney for political gain. Botham's name is not an endorsement you can parade, and his legacy is not a soundbite you can use to garner media coverage. The letter from the family reads, Crockett, who represents Dallas as a state rep, is in a runoff battle with Jane Hamilton to be the Democratic successor to retiring U.S. Rep Eddie Bernice Johnson. In an open letter shared with Texas news outlets, Jean's family said they previously asked Crockett to stop using Botham Jean's name in any capacity related to her political career, but those wishes had been disregarded. The letter says she has now asked their legal team to send Crockett a cease and desist letter. So this woman has no scruples at all. She does not care. It is all about political gain with this woman. That's it. And no matter who she stomp on. And what's sad, she has got some young, ignorant only meaning lacking knowledge, some young, ignorant black people believing that she's the next Harriet Tubman. Everything about her is fake, from the wig to the eyelashes to the ghetto accent. What she's doing, she's cosplaying what she believes a modern black woman is. She didn't grow up in the hood. She grew up very privileged and went to a K through 12 school that cost a minimum. We talking about kindergarten is $25,000. She went there from kindergarten through 12th grade. Then went to Rhodes College. Look it up. That place ain't cheap. And she didn't get there off Pell Grants. She come from a very well-off family. And so the fact that she knows she couldn't use her upbringing to relate to most people in the urban black community, she can't. So she's got to get up there and do her soul sister and yada, yada, embarrassing black people because, you know, black folks don't all talk like that. And even some that do, that's just because they're ignorant. But you're a politician. You're a representative. If you're talking like Roro and Shanae them in the hood, what are you doing up there representing for people, especially when you're taking money from governments associated with Hamas, terrorist groups, especially when you're lying about fighting civil rights for families that have sent you cease and desist letters. Now, here's the straw that broke the camel's back. Sheldon Daniels, who ran against Crockett, found $16,000 from an elderly couple who said they have never donated to her. So check this video out. This is him. All
right, guys. So I'm about to go to Randy Best's house, introduce myself, and just ask them straight up if they contributed to Jasmine's campaign, if they contributed that amount, and why they like her so much, because I might be able to learn a little bit of something while I'm up here. I'm way up here in Collin County. I'm in Plano, Texas, very far from TX30. It's very peculiar that somebody up here would give that much money to a candidate in our district. Maybe they have a special connection to the district. Let's go find out. I'm not going to film them. I'm not going to put any faces or anything on there. I'm just going to have my camera down at the ground. I'm going to be standing in a public, area in open air. I'm just, recording what's going on around me. Let's see what happens. All right, here's the house. Here's the house right here. Here we go.
He said he wasn't going to put the camera pointed at him just out of respect, but you'll hear it and you can.
How do you do, ma'am?
No soliciting.
I'm not here. I'm not a solicitor. I'm attorney Sheldon Daniels.
Okay.
Is there a Randy Best who lives here?
That's my husband.
Yeah. I just want to verify. Are you guys aware that you were charged over $16,000 last year? Yeah. I have a list of charges. I'm just here to verify that you guys know about this.
$16,000.
$16,240 in political contributions to a candidate named Jasmine Crockett. Do you remember that at all? Not. Does your husband remember that at all?
I don't know. He's on the road on his way to Colorado.
Okay. It says here that he's not employed. Is he employed now?
No, we're retired.
Okay. I can leave this with you if you want. It's got your information on it.
Yeah, you can just leave it on the table.
Yes, ma'am.
Smart woman. Even though he's an
Mind if I
attorney,
take a
she don't
picture?
mind.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Okay, guys, so I just drove by the home of this Randy Best guy. This guy, he's a 73-year-old retiree, unemployed. He and his wife, I guess they just travel around in an RV or something. I don't know, but he's on the road. His wife answered the door. She said that they had no idea what these charges were, and they had no idea that they were charged $16,000, or that they are responsible for $16,000 in political contributions to Jasmine Crockett. Yeah, she has them listed as political contributors. Now, mind you, I'm way up here in Plano. I'm in a totally different county. I'm in Collin County right now. The only reason why I'm even able to do this is because I practice law all over North Texas, and I drive all over, so I know North Texas very well. Collin County, Dallas County, Tarrant County, Denton County, Grayson County. A lot of shady stuff going on with Jasmine Crockett, and I see why she was doing all this, because she's trying to distract from the corruption. I wonder how deep it goes.
It goes real deep, because there's actually a report. Let me see if I can find it. And it breaks down her political contributions. And let me see, this one says, Breaking Rep Jasmine Crockett faces FEC over Act Blue donations. Evidence suggests 50 plus unauthorized contributions made in one person's name. She received $870,000 via Act Blue. $850,000, y'all. So this lady that's walking around, jumping up on all these stages, running her big mouth, calling for violence, doing her ghetto swag thing, is nothing more than a fraud. From how she used to speak with clear diction to now all of a sudden she's a ghetto neck popping, long eyelash wearing Mary McLeod Bethune wannabe. That's really what she's trying to do. She's trying to mimic herself to what the civil rights, black civil rights women like Barbara Jordan, who got into Congress. She's literally trying to mimic herself. That's why she wears the 1970s style glasses and wears the big hair. All of that stuff is just to gain attention and to make herself seem like she's some real civil rights leader. Her and AOC. Now, here's the thing. Jasmine Crockett has never passed one piece of legislation. I don't know if you knew that. Same thing with AOC. The only thing they've ever done was sign things as far as for impeachment for the president. But for anything legislative to improve their districts, nothing. As a matter of fact, she even recently just did a video and said, I should be a better politician, but I'm not working on any legislation at all. The only thing she admitted out of her own mouth that she's working on is to try to save the reputation of the quickly failing Democrat Party. And she's doing a great job of helping that party just go further in the hole, further in the hole, further in the hole. And there was a poll that CNN did on Friday, the 11th, which stated that how the working class felt, which party the working class felt was relating to them. The Democrat Party for years have had a 20 and 30 point lead versus the Republicans. The Republicans were always seen as corporate supporters. The Democrats fraudulently were seen as fighting for the working class. Well, the more that we learn, the more that's being exposed with USAID, these slush funds, and then we going back through history, seeing how they used to talk versus what they fighting against now. We're learning. This Democrat Party has been a chameleon the whole time. They fake like they're for the people, but really, they're the ones for the big corporations. And the way that it all started was that civil rights bill with Lyndon Johnson. That was the longest filibuster the Democrat Party did, which was something like 70 some odd days, where they refused to vote on the civil rights bill. They refused it. Do you know who it was that voted to pass the civil rights bill with LBJ? It was the Republicans. But the Democrat Party has always controlled the media. So by being a Democrat president, Democrat legislation, which was really bipartisan, and the media, the left-wing arm of the media, They were able over the years to convince the American people that the Democrat Party was the ones who fought for that bill and who signed that bill, which gave people of color more rights. And nothing could be further from the truth. The party of Jim Crow, it was the Dixiecrats that wanted to keep slavery. The Confederacy, that was the Democrat Party. They even talked about Jim Crow 2.0. Remember when they said it was racist in Georgia to require voter ID because they said black people don't know how to get driver's licenses. And now you got Sonny Hostin, who just did an interview on a podcast this past week of April 2025, where she said that black people and women will have a problem voting if they have to show ID. How condescending, how ignorant, how disrespectful. But hey, that's who these people are. And that's why I wanted to bring this to you. So if you're still in here watching it, I thank you so much. And like always, if you haven't already, like the video, leave a comment. Tell me what you think about what's going on. Share the video. And most importantly, please be safe and be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.